If you practice your job interview questions and answers in advance, if you plan what you're going to say, you will not sound robotic. You will just sound prepared. This is something really important you're doing, a job interview. And if you are prepared and they realize that you've prepared for this job interview, they're going to assume you'll prepare for everything that's important, such as all the work they're going to ask you to do. Welcome to Next Job Now,
the podcast where we help you get your next job
right now. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Greg Langstaff. I'm a certified resume strategist. I've written over 2,000 resumes, and I love helping people get new jobs.
And I'm Jeff, and I have a lot of questions about job searching. Together, we're going to talk about everything you need to know about landing your next role. Today, we are going to talk about structuring interview answers, how to predict the interview questions, and getting over the awkwardness of practicing.
Before we dive in, if you're enjoying this podcast so far, in the first 10 seconds, take a second to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and just let us know if there's anything else you'd like us to cover in the podcast as well.
Greg, what skills do I need to perfect interviewing?
I'd say the number one skill you need to be a strong interviewer is storytelling.
Ooh.
Yeah, because almost every question they ask you is going to prompt you to tell a story from some point in your career. And if you can deliver that in a way that's interesting, that's easy to follow, and that highlights the things you want to highlight, such as your skills, it's going to do really well when resonating with the interviewers.
So does that mean if I'm a bad storyteller, I suck at interviews?
Yes.
Okay.
But you only have to become good at telling your few stories about your best experiences professionally.
How do you do that?
Okay, so first is to decide what stories that you're going to tell. And to do that, you really need a sense of what are they looking for in this job description? What are the skills that they want to see? And then how can I use experiences from my past to prove that I have those skills? It's kind of like when you're a kid and your mom's like, oh, don't ride your bike around the past the end of our street, and you say well, I've ridden my bike for the last 3 years. I rode around the corner and I came back just fine without any scrapes or bruises. And that's it's literally the same pitch you're making when it's I can run a digital marketing campaign. I can run the supply chain for this $100 million organization. You're saying, I've been doing it for a long time. Here's an example of when I did it really well.
Now, is that storytelling, or is that just knowing your own experience so well that you can defend it when it's questioned? When I prep for interviews, I make a list of the stories with the examples. So it's I delivered this thing. Here's why we did that thing. Here's what we're hoping to accomplish. And these are the results of it. Versus just does that make sense?
What we're saying is storytelling. We may as well get into the STAR method.
Oh, okay.
Storytelling often happens in the STAR method. Honestly, if you go read a nursery rhyme, it's STAR method structured. One of my questions I always like to use as an example for the STAR method is, as a manager, how have you resolved the conflict between your staff? So the situation is, I was at my previous job as coordinator of new student transition. The task was, I had 2 staff who had the exact same job title, and they were feuding over who was responsible for which pieces of the role. And what kept happening was one person would do both of their jobs and the other person would feel distrusted and such. That's the task. It's I had to overcome that challenge between my staff. And that is also setting the table for the story. Now we know what you had to do. We care, and we're ready to listen to the actions. So in the STAR method, situation, task, action is and it's actions, because we didn't just do one thing. This is everything you did to overcome the challenge. Like if you think Lord of the Rings, actions is everything after he gets the ring and finds out he has to put it in Mount Doom. There's 2.5 movies of actions. And that is like, you're liking this Lord of the Rings?
Never seen it.
What?
I just didn't want to tell you, so I was just nodding along.
You're a movie guy.
I know. Anyway, sorry. I didn't want to ruin your story. You're such a good storyteller, Greg.
So in my example, I talk about how I had separate meetings with them to understand each of their perspectives. I understood the motivations of this person just wanting to make sure all the work got done. I understood the feelings of this person feeling distrusted by their colleague. And I then sort of explained to them each other's perspectives. And then I brought them together and the three of us had a conversation and we sort of found some understanding of each other's like opinions. We clarified their roles and we developed a system in which they could sort of collaborate together effectively. And that led to them being a very strong team for the rest of the summer. That last sentence was the result.
Wow.
Yeah.
You did that very good. You snuck in that result.
Am I a professional interview coach or not?
That's a good, fair. Are we answering every single question with the star method and just, it feels very robotic. But every question the star?
But it won't be. That's the thing is like, that's the order that people need that information in. And they're not going to be like situation, task, action, 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 result. They're not going to be feeling that. But if you don't give them that information, they're going to feel uncomfortable. There is an alternative to the star method. Yes. That I think is actually better.
Better than the star.
There is a interview answer method that is better than the star method. It's the Carl method.
Carl?
Carl. Context, which is just situation and task. Actions. Result. Learning.
So, Starl.
Sure. Starl.
Yeah. Is that like a reflective piece to be like, from that experience, I now approach my teams proactively to address scope, blah, 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 blah.
Yes. And that could be like in your approach, and it could be in like systems you've built so that this problem doesn't happen again or whatever it is. Like how have you learned, adapted, and prevented that issue from coming up again, or, position yourself to do better next time.
So would you recommend Star, Carl, Starl for every interview? I feel like some of them, like you can't do that for walk me through your resume.
No. These are what we call like the situational interview questions, which is just like anytime they want to know an example of you using a specific skill.
Like what? What's a situational question?
Tell me about a time that you managed multiple projects at once. Tell me about a time when you had to work within a short or small budget or a short project timeline. And the sneaky thing is they won't always say, tell me about a time you did this. Yeah. No, sometimes they'll say like, how would you motivate your team? That one actually haunts me because I had a lot of trouble answering that question once many years ago.
Is it possible to predict the interview questions we're going to be asked?
Absolutely, yes.
I'm going to ask that again. Is it possible to predict the interview questions?
Absolutely, yes.
How? How do you do it?
It's so easy. Anyone can predict the job interview questions that are going to come up. I'm serious. So you just look at the job description. You read every bullet point for requirements, for responsibilities in the role, and you assume they're going to ask you if you've ever done that. If it's building a budget using QuickBooks, they're going to ask if you've ever done that. Tell us about a time you've done that. If it's like negotiating with government agencies, they're going to ask if you've negotiated with government agencies. Every single potential question is right there in plain sight in the job description.
How do I prepare for that? Am I writing out, tell me about a time I worked with government relations. Tell me about a time I managed a budget. Tell me about a time, and I'm just...
Yes.
writing out Starl, Star, Carl for every single one?
Yeah.
Won't I sound robotic
No.
and scripted?
No. Okay. I have been trying to get this across to everyone. So listen, if you practice your job interview questions and answers in advance, if you plan what you're going to say, you will not sound robotic. You will just sound prepared. This is something really important you're doing, a job interview. And if you are prepared and they realize that you've prepared for this job interview, they're going to assume you'll prepare for everything that's important, such as all the work they're going to ask you to do. So we want to seem prepared, and your answers are going to be more concise. They're going to be more to the point. You're not going to be humming and hawing. You're not going to be circling around trying to find that thing you were talking about. It's embarrassing when people go into a job interview and they have not prepared what they're going to talk about. We know right away, and we are not interested in listening to you ramble until you find your answer.
So you're telling me I have to stare myself in the mirror and speak out loud my interview answers ahead of time?
I wouldn't stare at yourself in the mirror if you don't want to. I think the auditory verbal practicing is plenty. I don't think like making dead eye contact with yourself in the mirror is necessary, but I do definitely advocate for practicing your answers out loud.
Okay.
Yeah,
You literally talk into your phone.
I do.
How did you get over that awkwardness of practicing and speaking to essentially no one?
I think it's a lot of repetition. I think that it also helps like to know that this is just for you and it's serving a purpose. The more you prepare for job interviews, the less job interviews you will have to do because they will be turning into offers. If that's not motivation enough for you, the person who's a normal person that doesn't like job interviews, which is pretty much everyone except me, you don't have to do this again if you do it well and you get a job offer. So, like, if that's not enough motivation to practice your job interviews, then I don't know what is.
How long should an interview be? What should I be expecting? And when I'm building and practicing these answers, for each question, it sounds like it's a lot. A situation, task, action, 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 result.
Yeah.
I feel like that can quickly go to 5+ minutes for every story. We don't know how many questions they're going to ask us. So how do we gauge which ones require in-depth stories and context versus which ones we can kind of, oh, I can address this. Here's an example. Let's move on.
That's a good question. So I usually say like an interview answer length for any individual answer, definitely more than 1 minute. If you're going under a minute, you have not given enough actions. Or maybe if your actions are simple, you can always also explain why. You know, you might go, I did this action because of this. I did this action because of this. That'll extend it a bit. On the long end, like 4 minutes is usually like tops. 3 is probably pretty good to like have at a concise point. Now, these aren't hard and fast rules, but that should be like the trend. Most of your answers should be under 3 to 4 minutes. Most of your answers should be longer than 1 minute. So we just want to look at like big picture. Assume that they probably have already done an interview, unless you're the first one of this round. So they'll kind of know if they've got the right number of questions. I don't know about you, but I've facilitated hundreds of job interviews. The thing candidates did that bothered me the most was when they talked too long and I suddenly couldn't think about anything except the fact that I wasn't going to have time to ask all the questions on my list.
Ooh.
So keep the answers in that like 1 to 3 minute range as best as you can.
Interesting. Okay, so I wanted to do a little activity. I just talked about going really fast during an interview. I think we should switch to rapid fire compatibility interview questions.
Why?
Well, I mean, interviews, at the end of the day, we all just are making these fake scripts. We're rehearsing it in the mirror.
These aren't fake.
Okay, we're
Prepared.
we're over preparing for interviews, and it's They're basically, you know what questions are going to be asked. There's only a limited questions that they're going to ask you in an interview.
Yeah.
So if you're saying that we can predict them, then we need to replace it with some rapid fire questions that get people one answer, one word. We're going to test it.
Okay.
Okay, walk me and tell me whether or not you would want to work at my company.
Wait, I want to make sure I have your concept down. You're saying like we already know from their resume that they're probably capable.
Yeah.
But like the interview is more to assess the vibe, and you think you can get their vibe down in just a couple quick questions. So let's stop wasting everyone's time with these hour-long interviews.
I can get the vibe down in 30 seconds.
All right.
I can get your vibe down in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Let me know if you'd hire Greg.
All right.
It's rapid fire.
Okay.
No thinking and no more than one word.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Do you work well with others?
Yes.
Do you show up on time?
Yes.
Do you use Apple or an Android?
Android.
What?
No. I panicked. I use Apple phone, but I use a Microsoft or Windows like based computer.
Apple or Android phone?
Apple.
What's the biggest budget you've ever managed?
$2.1 million.
A colleague is doing something mean to you. You respond with?
Smiling.
Favorite type of apple?
No. Ambrosia.
If a customer needs assistance, you will?
Help.
Remove one popular burger topping.
Pickles.
You're on vacation and someone needs you. What should they do?
Call.
The best TV character of all time is?
Homer Simpson.
I think I understand your vibe. I get who you are. I have no further questions. All right. Well, now it's time for our unusual interview. The time where we ask each other questions that we hope you never get asked in an interview. What phrase would you say to yourself in the mirror to hype yourself up? 3 words.
You are G-Man.
G-Man!
G-Man.
Oh, I love that.
It's my private nickname for just myself. No one calls me that except me.
So every time you practice interviewing, you say, hello, my name is G-Man.
Yeah.
And I'm here to nail this interview.
Actually, other men whose names start with G, I will work in a what's up G-Man. It's like our little thing.
I'm close.
You are close.
I could be a G.
But you're not.
J-Man.
You go and do that with the Jacks and Jims of the world.
Ugh.
All right. My unusual interview question for you. You're a child. Your mom calls you up for dinner. What is the thing you're most excited to see on the plate?
I don't know why I was going potatoes. It's not potatoes. Pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Nice. Would you get
I don't want my
with...
mom's cooking. I think anything. Sorry, I correct my answer. Anything but my mom's cooking.
That's so you and your mom. Jeff and his mom, yeah.
She's the best person. Terrible cook. Yeah. If she comments, I'm going to respond back to be like, yeah, how are those cookies looking? Burnt. How's that boiled egg going? Burnt.
Burned a boiled egg.
This is what I'm telling you, man. It's a fire hazard in my house.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Love you, Mom.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and send this episode to a friend who is currently looking for a job. Next week, we are going to talk about the hardest interview questions, and we're going to give you some sample answers.
See you there.